On an average day, without added wars, added brutality, without any disagreements or battles or added violence, somewhere in the area of 18,000 children die every day from starvation, from not having enough to eat. We are not judging in this film, for judging leads us to divisions, and in divisions we war and become completely incompetent to do anything else. We are observing our total human behaviour, not judging any part of it. Observing the apparent order we follow in our societies. 18,000 children die of hunger every day on a planet with over 30 trillion in tax havens. On the 17th of September 2021, World Atlas listed as factual that there are now a total of 2,208 billionaires in our world. These are people with a personal wealth of over $1,000 million. Half our planet is living on less than $2 a day. It seems that competition and capitalism have a problem with caring and sharing. We are not judging. This must be repeated over and over again. We are looking into, with a view to understanding, what is taking place in human relationship and in our world gone wrong. We have all been trained to an ideology of self-interest as being the most important thing in life. We have always lived this way, although a 12-year insistence that every student battle every other to reach top position in class is enough to impart a liberal dose of self-interest into every child, no matter how well they manage to compete. We are all self-interested, and we have all been educated to be. Do you not carry self-interest internally for you? Everyone does. But what truly are we? Are we really divided names? Do our names truly point accurately to what we are? When I look at a rich man or a poor man, I see a human. When I look at right or wrong, I see human. Republican or Democrat, black or white, Christian, Muslim, Jew, Palestinian, I see the same. I see no lack of wealth in this world, but I see a lack of any ability to share the wealth. I see huge numbers held behind walls of self-protection, while babes go without. Seeing all of this, I come to ask, where is our success? Is it successful to be jetting into space and leaving our poorest of children to die? Or are human children not our children? Are African children not our children? Are Afghani children not our children? Are Syrian children not our children? Are these not all human children? Are we not human? Why does a subcategory of what we are cleave us apart with greater effectivity than our all-inclusive category, the one we all fit into, the category of belonging to the human race? We seem to have lost sight of what we are, for we are allowing children of our species to die in favour of maintaining a system which continually divides us between wealth and allows for this to happen. Our system is based on the divisions between us, which are all psychological. We are truly one, although our thinking divides us. Every human being operates from the background of his or her thinking. We seem to think we have a comprehensive stock of thoughts to access from our brains. We do not. As our thinking is limited to what we have experienced in our lives, it is founded on memory. Our lives are limited to what we can think. And what can we think? What we have been educated to, and what we have previously experienced. As our thinking drives all the actions of our lives, we are now living in chronic divisions. We divide ourselves at source, in the roots of our thinking mind. We have all been limited in life to a divisive ideology that success is a quality belonging to an individual person's identity. We have never held communally the majestical vision that success might include every one of us, and our environment, and every species of life here shared with us on our planet. Our ideology of success has been limited down to that of the solitary individual. Hardly surprising. Memories laid young remain and run deep. And so today, as educated to in tentative years, we have come to battle each other, to dominate, to win, to control, to sit in authoritarian power over each other, to reach the top of the heap, and most important of all, to stay there. For our world is a competitive environment, with every man and every woman struggling to reach higher on the road to the top of the heap. It never occurs to us that we might all be the very same thing. We may have made a mistake. Our lives may not be 7 or 8 billion divided, struggling and fighting isolated entities. Our lives may be one movement. Think of COVID. Is COVID one entity, or is COVID billions upon billions of individual little things? How effective would COVID be against humanity if it was competing against itself? If COVID was trying to stop COVID from profiting because another part of COVID sought to keep all the humans to itself? Are you catching sight of the picture of how we are living? One must constantly repeat, no one is throwing stones. A mind need look to see. Judging what we see divides us. When we look into the activity of a rich person today, we are reviewing a shared human consciousness, a long-standing way of ordering ourselves, of accepting a societal structure, one which is truly not worth having for the vast majority of us. All of us, actually. No one truly profits in a world, although many think they do, when the beauty and the love and the care are lost by accepting and conforming to a life of competitive conflict, a life of progress. I fail here to see the success. I see the ideology. But I see rich people incapable of sharing and ever pursuing more, regardless of how much they already have. A larger divide is obviously happening. Our success appears to be bringing a colossal failure in its wake. Success will do this. Where did you ever find success without a failure to measure its superiority against? Perhaps this is why, when mankind reaches monumental levels of wealth, his heart shrivels to the size of a peanut. A huge self, limited in thinking to experience, and so surrounded by its self, by my accomplishments. my superiority, my power over yours. Is it not in exactly such ways that our so-called pursuit of success is bringing massive failure to our world? Our world is dying because so many have not enough, and yet there is enough. We are destroying a planet which lives on a foundation of continual renewal. Such is our insatiable and unchecked, unquestioned greed. And all of us have a billion ideas of how to solve all of our communal problems. From our limited ideas, from our limited thinking brains, stocked with our limited memories from our limited experience. All competing and battling against each other. This is the disorder of how we have come to order ourselves. This is why our success is such a monumental failure. When we live on a planet that has people worth hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, and yet a child still continues to die every 5 seconds from the lack of even a morsel of food. Competition wallows in its own success, and it knows its success by contrasting it against the failure of others. This is some system we have concocted for ourselves, and it seems we have always lived this way. Understanding leads us to freedom from tyranny, our own tyranny, as well as the tyranny of any others. Understanding never comes from any book, nor from thought, which is always limited. Understanding comes from seeing. Seeing leads to immediate action. We do not see the dangers inherent in the divisive ways we have developed our lives today, or we would be acting and taking steps quickly to put them right. When a bus is coming towards you, you move out of its way. Considering the right course of action is not going to be so successful. In the very same way, seeing the dangers of our world will free us from them. We never look to see. We judge. We look with our memories, and we say, this is right, and this is wrong. And our memories are limited to what we have been educated to and experienced in our lives, and so are rooted on knowledge of what has been experienced, and in complete ignorance of what has not been experienced. In this state of deep ignorance, we act and can make judgment calls for our lives, and so we hurt and conflict against each other, all because deeply seated within our consciousness lies an ideology that I am forever in competition against others, and that life is a battle to achieve more than you. It is such unquestioned automatic movements within an educated consciousness which divide us and injure us. It is understanding the source of our problems and acting appropriately to resolve them which will have maximum benefit and the only true profit. To seek fantastically high levels of wealth, yet to remain limited to consideration of an ideology of only me, is hardly any success for humanity. For one human being, perhaps. For one human to be planning a trip to Mars makes that one human's life appear, in contrast to the children wallowing in mud, a rather marvellous affair. But take a second look. Perhaps there is relationship between the flight to Mars and the wallowing in the mud. Perhaps one brings the other. For whoever found a day without a night, whoever found dark without light, pleasure without pain, or life without death, opposites come together. In this simple fact may be understood all that is going so very wrong on our world today. In our manic pursuits of never-ending individual success, we have brought to our planet the absolutely needed corresponding opposite for it to be able to recognize itself against. The pitiful poverty and abject suffering of billions of people we see in our world is the other side of the coin of the individual success we all pursue. And this is all automatic because it comes from our thinking memories, which have been conditioned and educated into us. No one is to blame. You may consider the life of a billionaire to be uncaring, manipulative, and deeply selfish, and you would likely be correct. What you would likely equally fail to notice, however, is that you would be the same, in the same position, with the same background. We need learn about our communal problems, that we may grow and come together in relationship to care for one another, not judge each other, all acting in our deep states of ignorance and leading us to war. The success of our now over 2,200 planetary billionaires has propelled this absolute failure of our world. We need evaluate our understanding of the word success. On a planet where so many have so much and so much is hidden away, if we are observant, we are learning that humanity with everything shares next to nothing. How can that ever be considered a success? Is limitation of all our communal resources into the hands of a very few of us a success for all of us? It will not be, because it has not been to now. I wish our billionaires well. I hold no malice towards these people. I wish them wisdom, that they may face the responsibility for such huge resources brings. I fear many are not. On a planet with thousands of billionaires, how much do we truly need to be in a position to help another?